Primeau fan.
Thank you for having me.
Your fans are like,
what an honor to be here, Pete. You're a legend. You're a rock star.
I'm a legend in my own mind, said my wife.
If I can do it, anybody can do it.
I'm Mr. Selling from the Heart. What's this guy, Larry Levine, going to teach me about selling from the heart?
You are one of the most generous and authentic people around. And I think that's why you and your show are so attractive to people.
Welcome to the Pete Primeau Show. It is episode 268, As the Mattress Turns, with Nick Lucarell from White Dove Mattress. We'll get to that in a minute. Let's pay the bills first. If you haven't read my book, Sell a Million, what are you waiting for? This is not a sales book. It's a marketing and business book. Best compliment I ever got on this book was from my dear friend, Doug Stewart, who said, take the words mattress and take the word furniture out. It's just a great business book and a great marketing book. If you want a sales book, I've got one of those for you. We discovered that I had traveled over 2 million miles, and I did that in 43 years. That's no air miles included. That's just my on the road. I've been really blessed in my career to work with some great people. And those great people helped me write the book. Once I went through everything, I asked myself, what else do people need to win today in today's economy? And so I asked a few of my friends, Jeff Giannakovo, Scott Vaughn, Chris Tahaney, Brent Batterman, Randy Thompson, the adjustable bed guru, and Nick, one of your customers, Mel Opp, Keith Castenguy, Justin Trumbo, Mark Klingenberg, and Steve Carnes all wrote chapters in this book. So it's not my book by myself. It is a team effort. And if you need to do a weekly sales meeting, you just take this book and divide it up. You'll easily have 3 years worth of sales meetings, easily. So, guys, miles and miles of retail selling greatness. I think it's like $20. Chris had it up there. It's just under $20. So it's ridiculous. It's everything that has worked in the last 44 years and what's working today, like right now, this minute. So grab that. They're both on Amazon. And I think Chris has a link, but whether he does or he doesn't matter. It's so easy to find. Just put the book title in there. My name. Link is in the description. See, he's always catching me like that. Few other quick announcements. Got to thank my friends at Mattress Industry Network Group, specifically Greg and Steve, for sponsoring the show. If you want to learn how to build, market, sell, and succeed in the mattress industry, join this free Facebook group. I don't even know how many people are in it. It's pushing 3,000 if it's not over 3,000. Everybody's in here. So whether you're a retail salesperson, a store owner, you're a VP of sales, you own a manufacturing company, you're a sales rep. We want everybody in here. It's for the entire industry. And just hit that QR code to join. It's a great group, and you will learn so much from being in this group. You'll learn everything you need to learn. And one of the things that us as business owners run into is sometimes we feel all alone. And you don't have to feel all alone. when you're in the mattress industry group, because there's lots of people in there. There's stores that are similar to yours in another part of the country, and you guys can kind of create your own networking group. So jump into that group. It's a great group. And Chris Tahaney, my former boss at Protect the Bed, my former boss at Dream Fit, is writing a great book. And it is based on success stories with great outcomes for our retail sales heroes. So if you're a sales pro at retail and you've impacted a customer's life in a positive way, and it's a story that you want to share with us, all you got to do is write it down, preferably type it up, but any which way you want to do it is fine with Chris. Send it to this email, mattressrsastories@gmail.com. And if you're a store owner and you've got some great retail salespeople who have done great things, but they're a little bit shy, encourage them. And maybe you even write it and send it in. If you're not a great writer, don't worry about it. Chris will send it back to you polished up, and you'll have final approval before it's before it goes in the book. But guys, gals, this is a great project. So we want to hear from you. We want to hear all your great success stories and great outcomes for retail customers who are waking up happy, pain-free, who are going to live longer, who are having better outcomes in their life because they met you and you put them into the right sleep system for them. So, Chris, thank you for that project. If you are in the mattress business and you're a store owner, this is a group for you. It's a Facebook group, Mattress Retailer Toolkit. My friend Jeff Giannakovo runs it with his mentor, Mike Capuzzi, who is a legendary marketer, great all-around business guy as well. If you feel like there's another level that you could get to with your business, but you're not quite finding the way, this is who MRT was actually built for. So join the group. I belong to the group. It's like $99 a month. It's super cheap, and it is just loaded up. If you're a sales rep or you're a VP of sales and you want your retailers to do better, I'd highly recommend Mattress Retailer Toolkit. It is brand agnostic, and it will help your retailers be more successful. Just hit that QR code right there, and you'll always get the best offer and the best price. So thank you, Mattress Retailer Toolkit, for being part of the show. Nick, I am wanting to call you Nick Lucarell because there should be an I on the end of that name.
Yeah, you're not the first one. Thanks for having me, Pete. I really appreciate it.
Well, I'm glad that you're here. Thank you, Gordon, for introducing us. Chris Tahaney says, breaking away from an industry event to say, I'm looking forward to watching this on demand. Thank you for having Nick on the show, Pete. He's one of the best out there. Have a great show, fellas. Thank you, Chris. Any questions you got for Nick? We're going to go around the world. So
okay,
here's a little inside baseball. So come here. Everybody that's listening. We started talking, me and Nick, and anybody who knows anything about my show knows it's not rehearsed. That's one thing never happens. And we started talking about this, that, and the other. And then we're trying to come up with like a name for the episode. And I'm like, I don't know. We went back and forth, and we ended up settling as the mattress turns in 2026, because there's a lot of moving parts. A lot of things have changed. For those of you who don't know Nick, Nick has had a great career so far. He's currently the VP of sales at White Dove Mattress Company, my old alma mater. I had the same exact job years ago. I think it was 94 to 97, something like that, when I was there. So So Nick, you're working for a great family. The Goodman family is absolutely one of the greatest families in our business, and there's a lot of great people in our business. But you're very blessed to be where you are. So Nick, tell us a little bit about yourself, because I think one of the things that is the most compelling about you is you are us. You started in retail, and I think that's super important.
Yeah, I did. So, being born and raised in Youngstown, Ohio, after I graduated college, I had a friend living in Chicago that was working for a retailer named Back to Bed at the time. They also had another chain in Chicago, Bedding Experts. And I packed my bags and moved there for the opportunity to work retail and kind of get my feet on the ground. And from there, I quickly realized that I enjoyed it. I didn't know anything about it before, but I fell in love with it, and I would just build relationships with the reps, try to learn more about the wholesale side. And I was blessed to be hired by Simmons Bedding Company in 2012. So from there, we had to pack the bags and move to Las Vegas, Nevada. And I began my career on the wholesale side as a training rep, or what a lot of companies would now call like a field sales representative. After Las Vegas, moved to Pittsburgh for a promotion to become a territory manager. Had a great run there, really enjoyed the relationships. It got me a little closer to home as well. And then the acquisition or the merger of Serta and Simmons came to being, and I had another opportunity to move up and learn more. So we moved to Columbus, Ohio. After a few years learning from some great retailers and great managers, an opportunity came up in Southern California to become a strategic account manager. So we jumped at that, made the choice to move to Southern California. And then out there, opportunities really presented themselves quickly. So became a district sales manager, moved into a director of sales role for all of the Western U.S. strategic accounts at Serta Simmons Bedding. And then I decided that it was time to learn more about the business and the raw material side. So I accepted a role with FXI as a vice president of sales and kind of learn the ropes of raw material and what goes into that, how it's priced, how it's made, and what's important. And then a phone call came from an industry legend named Frank Swanek, Pete, who I'm sure you know, and he informed me he was retiring. So, okay, I'm happy for you. And it went into, I'd really like you to meet Bruce Goodman, see what White Dove is all about. And I think you'd be a really good fit to kind of take over for me and keep building the snowball. So I'd say within minutes of meeting Bruce, I knew it was home. I knew it was the right fit. The culture was what I relate to and what I wanted to get back to. So in August of last year, we moved, but I did begin with White Dove of February last year. So I actually just celebrated my 1-year anniversary here. We have done a lot of great things in a very short amount of time, and it's all because of the leadership of Bruce. He's a trusting, empathetic figure, and it's just been fantastic. So that's my long story as quickly as I can tell it in the industry.
Well, I think it's super important to tell your story, Nick, and I'll tell you my takeaways that are super important. Number one, you started in retail. Number two, you worked for a great company, moved up the ranks there. You went on the other side, learned that end of the business. And you're right. Frank Swanek is an absolute legend in the business. What a great guy, and what a knowledgeable guy, and what a great job he has done, at White Dove. So, and I have to concur with you. When I actually was hired by Henry, Bruce's father, I hope he's with us, but he may not be. So God rest his soul. He was one of the kindest, most compassionate people I've ever met, and was as open as you could possibly be. And I actually recruited Bruce into the business. That was the real purpose of hiring me. And then my time with Bruce was exactly what you're describing. He gives you freedom. He lets you do your own thing. And He's open to new ideas, and you can't ask for any more than that. So let's get rolling. So
Okay.
a lot of stuff has happened like in the last few years. I mean, like a lot of stuff has happened like for a while now, like from 2020 to, up to now, inflation, war, blah, 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 you name, all kinds of stuff is happening. I think right now retailers are kind of almost in a weird position. Some are definitely doing better than others. I would say that business is okay. There's a significant amount of business out there, but it seems to me, Nick, that right now in this moment in time, it's disproportionately spread. The retailers that embraced moving up in price points, the retailers that embrace two-sided, the retailers that embrace split heads, they're all faring much better than the retailers who have not moved up in price point, who don't offer two-sided, and who don't offer split heads. What's your take on it?
Yeah, that's been a lesson to me, and I'm still learning, trying to grow and understand it better. But as the housing market remains sluggish, some of the external factors that you mentioned are going on. It's an uneasy economy, and it's a bit of an uneasy atmosphere as a whole. However, the consumer base that is less impacted are still healthy and shopping. So the average unit selling price continues to grow, and those products continue to perform well. The challenge that I think that we have is with consolidation and less of a selection, it does become less competitive. So my goal is to make sure that our partners have the best quality product with a great story that's going to stick in the homes and not have warranty issues, but also offers us a little bit something different than the other 4, 5, 6 locations that a customer may shop before making a decision. But yeah, everything that you said is exactly what we're seeing. We're just trying to play offense instead of defense, Pete. So here's where the puck is going. Let's skate to it before it gets there. And that's kind of the way that we're approaching things.
Awesome. Guys, we're live. If there's any questions, and by the way, I just give a quick shout out to Jeff Janakovo, Scott Vaughn, Chris Tahini, all of these guys, Gordon, they're all at the Brand Source show. So we wish everybody at the Brand Source show massive success and have fun. Nashville's a great town. I worked for Sutherland for just about 8 years, and I came to absolutely fall in love with Nashville. What a great town.
Yeah, it is. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's a great town. So anyone that has questions, type them in, and Chris will pop them up, and we will get them going. Playing offense and going to where the puck is going is a tricky one sometimes, because if you have a retail store owner, Nick, who doesn't see it where it's going, and now you're presenting new information to him or her, there's almost this almost automatic reaction to push back on it. And maybe the second or third time it's presented and they start talking to their peers, they acknowledge that, oh my Lord, that is where the puck is going. Yeah, and right. What did you say about what I should be doing? But that is a great posture to have with our dealers, to help them see what you're seeing, because a really great retailer is networked throughout the entire country. They have friends everywhere at every level in this business. But the average smaller store, Nick, they might know 1 or 2, maybe 3 store owners, unless they're in a group like Brand Source or Nationwide or Furniture First, where they do meet. But even then, maybe they've got, 3 or 4 extra connections. They don't have the broad base that you have or that I have. And so a lot of times when you present new information, it gets pushed back on. So how do you handle that, buddy?
Yeah, it's a challenge, but it's an opportunity as well, right? So, leadership and communication, it all is in the way that you present it. So, what I like to do is be very clear. A lot of the ideas or the practices that we may have, it's because I learned them from great retailers, right? The CSWOs of the world in Hawaii, Sit and Sleep in Los Angeles, Big Sandy Superstore in the Midwest. These are folks that throughout my career, I was fortunate to work with, and I told you on the phone, Pete, but I learned more from them that they've ever learned from me. So I just take their best practices and the things that I saw them do, especially during tumultuous times. I was in LA during COVID, and I watched how Sit and Sleep navigated that, and how CSWO navigated that, and just taking the practices and the ways that they do it. That's kind of the way that I communicate it, Pete, if that makes sense.
Yep. Same thing with me. I've never had an original thought when it comes to the mattress business ever. I just share best practices that I've been really, really blessed. And when I was at CERTA, I was included in meetings with, Marty Darvin and guys like that. Big Sandy's is a customer of mine for many, many years across many different product opportunities. And I've learned a lot from those guys and others, JV Schultz, super funny. Yeah. Jack introduces me to John when John just graduates from college. And basically, I'm training John. And I reminded John when I was in a meeting with him recently, I said, yeah, and your dad jokingly said for me not to take advantage of you. If anybody would ever take advantage of anybody, and I know you wouldn't do this, John, it would be you of me because you're twice as smart as I'll ever be. Yeah. And I mean, he's brilliant. And the things that guys like that have shared with me over the years that, in a way, at the very beginning of the career, I was a mentor to, which is really incredibly humbling and a blessing at the same time. So yeah, it's super important for us to always be listening to our retailers. And, the best ideas always come from the retail floor.
They do.
They always do. So we've got, you put your finger on something. I want to dive a little bit into that. This consolidation thing. Mm-hmm. And, you're starting to see some companies lining up. I think if me and you are sitting here talking about as the mattress turns in 2026, it would be irresponsible of us not to talk about the elephant in the room. And the elephant in the room is what's going on with Tempur Sealy and all of the consolidation that's going on there. They bought Mattress Firm. They own part of Purple. They own part of Kings Down. There's a test right now in some of the stores with Kings Down, and they're taking beauty. You're probably, your ex Simmons hat, you're probably rolling over in your grave thinking that some of those stores are taking Beauty Rest Black out of the stores, but they actually are. And they're testing it. And Kings Down is going to have a very, very heavy weight to lift there because I'm not sure that they can replace Beauty Rest Black. And I don't have a dog in that fight. But you've got a lot of things, and that's not all that's going on, but that's just kind of teeing it up and talking about some of that stuff. How do you see that?
Yeah, a few different ways. So from a large corporation standpoint, the boardroom and some of the decisions that are being made, I admire it, right? They're making the best decisions that they think will put them in a position long-term for success. So I get that and I understand it, and I don't think that there's anything wrong with it. Where I do have a little bit of concern and probably a little more focus is how does that impact the local businesses, right? And the customers that shop at local businesses. And I think that's where the importance of diversity on the floor comes into play, telling the story of who you are, why a customer should shop here, and what makes you different. And the risk there is if the merchandising strategy is all aligned with the national channel, you're really relying on just the fact that it's a local business. So I think that it's a multi-pronged approach, Pete, but ultimately merchandising and storytelling is kind of the key driver. So I learned a lesson early in my days at Simmons. We had a great marketing executive for a short time named Jeff Willard. And Jeff used to get on stage and he would always repeat the same, but very, very simple and memorable phrase of build a great product and tell a great story. So we as a manufacturer have the responsibility to build a great product and then tell a great story as to why, a consumer should buy that. But the local business, the local retailer, they have that same responsibility. They need to show a great product and then they need to tell a great story. I don't know if that kind of makes sense how I'm answering it, but it's not, I wouldn't say there is no binary answer of the consolidation's good or bad. I think it's fine. It's just you have to pivot and find a green light in your process if you're not a part of that consolidation, so to speak.
So I'm gonna probably take this in a completely wild direction, but it's something that I've heard. Tempur Sealy has approached some large retailers, very large retailers, and basically, offered to shut down a lot of the little ones and put their arm around the biggest retailer in that area and say, listen, you don't need all these other brands. You don't need all this other stuff. I know you're not happy about what we did with Mattress Firm, but basically, we've got Mattress Firm in this town and we'll have you, and there'll be nobody else. It'll just be us. And we're going to give you this subsidy package with this advertising co-op package, with this floor sample package, with these ongoing plateaus. And if you hit those, you're going to get these insane rebates. We're going to really, truly just be partners. You always hear that, but we really want to do this. And I heard this and I said, but nobody did it, right? No, there have been a couple retailers who have done it, and they actually are starting to close those little retailers. So this is what I want to say to my smaller retail friends. And listen, I sell big retailers and I sell smaller retailers and I sell everything in between. I've been very blessed with the different product lines that we carry at Primeau Furniture Sales. I feel like it's super important for you as a smaller retailer. You might say, I don't want to change anything. And I understand that. I don't want to change anything. Things are going good for me. I don't want to change anything. None of us want to change anything. And there is a cost, a very real cost, to change in lines and offerings or strategies. But here's what you can't afford to do as a smaller retailer. And Nick, I want your reaction. You can tell me, I'm all wet. Pete, go jump in the lake. This is stupid what you're saying. I want you as a smaller retailer to have a plan B. I want you to have a plan C. I want you to say, what am I going to do if Tempur Sealy waltzes in here and closes me down? What say you, Nick?
Yeah, you use the word plan, right? And that's a really important part of this entire process. A lot of companies have goals, but if you don't have a plan, I think there's an old saying that's, a goal without a plan is just a wish. So it's okay to have a goal and a dream, but you have to have a plan and something to execute to get you to that end result, right? And you want to embrace the journey, but ultimately you want to reach your goal. I don't know what the long-term goal is of that consolidation. It seems fairly obvious, to what you're talking about. But what I would say is, let's come up with a plan together. Let's collaborate. That is the perk and the benefit of partnering with a more regionally based company and a vendor. And that doesn't mean that your entire merchandising or advertising strategy has to be just partnered with that vendor, but the diversification of what you're offering in the store will allow you to be able to pivot off of that product if necessary, right? When it just comes down to price and being vertically integrated down the road, you're very, very rarely going to win the price battle. That would be what I would say to that.
Yeah. No, I think those are really great points, Nick. Thank you for pointing that out. And, you said something really quickly that was really significant. How does it impact local retailers and local consumers? And it restricts choices for customers potentially. So that is one of the things that consolidation can do. When one company has their fingers in so many other companies, and this is not, I didn't even bring up the possibility of them buying Leggett and Platt. I didn't even bring that one up. I don't know if it's
Right.
going to happen, not going to happen. I don't think they floated it out there on accident. I think they were. It's a real possibility. So what happens to you as a retailer and your consumer when there's almost a monopoly? And I have to share this with you. I have never in my life heard a top 100 buyer tell his sales staff that they believe that Tempur Sealy is on the verge of becoming a monopoly, and that's not good for consumers. It's not good for our industry, and that they should anticipate seeing other brands other than what's on Mattress Firm's floor as possible new additions in 2026. So basically what this top 100 retailer said to their salespeople is, we're going to be adding other vendors in 2026, but they're not going to be anything that you could buy at Mattress Firm. And I said, hallelujah, somebody gets it. What say you, Nick?
Yeah, that's the correct approach, right? And you see consolidation in other we're just late to the party in the mattress industry, right? This has been going on for a pretty long time in other industries. You've been in business for a long time, Pete. So I'm assuming over the course of your career, there had to have been a time where you kind of lived in airports, right? On airplanes every day?
Yep.
Well, that experience has changed, right? From my friends that are, in your generation of business travel, what you guys tell me you experienced versus what I've experienced is drastically different. And that's because of consolidation. There are far fewer choices. There's far fewer competition on the pricing. And then ultimately that has led to really a lack of an experience too, right? So for me, I have been very loyal to Southwest Airlines over my career. And it's not because their planes are the nicest. It's not because of the technology that they offer. It's certainly not because of the leg room that you get. But I've been loyal because of the experience I've had with them over 14 or 15 years. And, as a short example, recently we had a major issue. My wife and my son, we went to California. A flight was canceled on the way back. Had to drive all night from Chicago. That's having said that, I emailed customer service as politely as I could. Is there any possibility for a refund at the very least? We had to pay for a rental car, so on and so forth. And they answered me the next day, flight vouchers to make up for the price, a check in the mail to make up for the rental car. So the response was quick and it was concise. It was to the point. It addressed clearly the stress that I felt that we had gone through. And then financially, they made up for it too. So those are the type of things that I think can translate to our world as we continue to see more consolidation. How does a local business separate themselves from a Mattress Firm or a Macy's or whomever that may be? And again, that's healthy competition if you strategize and have a plan the right way, because those businesses are necessary. They help drive traffic. They help drive awareness. They do help increase the average ticket. So it's not the big bad wolf taking over, as long as you have a plan in place to adjust to this new environment. That's what I would say. I don't know if that is on target with.
I am super glad that you brought up Southwest Airlines, because that is a great example of service. And so this is what I'm going to say to my small retailers out there. You have a superpower, and here's your superpower. You can be faster. You can have more speed. You can react quicker than a big retailer. A big retailer is a Titanic. It turns only so much at a very small rate of speed. You're in a speedboat. You can pivot. You can flip that thing around. You can overservice your customers to your customers' absolute delight. And I beg you, every retailer listening to this, understand this: speed and service. What did you hear Nick say? The very next day, I had a response. He didn't have to go back and forth. It wasn't this long drawn out thing. It was fast. And so this is what I'm going to say to every small retailer out there. Really be cognizant. Empower your people to make decisions quickly when it comes to service, and to get those decisions out to the customer immediately, or as close to immediately as possible. And that will be one of your superpowers. And it's a way to get those 5-star online reviews, to get those testimonials that you need, and to get those referrals that you as a small business need in today's new world. I mean, we are living in a completely different world. These things, where's my thing? This thing, have changed the way we do business. And Mr. or Mrs. Consumer can give you, a 1, or they can give you a 5. They can talk you up and be your greatest champion, or they could say this place sucks and don't shop there. And speed is an incredibly huge thing. Here's something I've been begging retailers to do for years. There's still some of you out there not doing it. So don't tell me everybody's doing this, because a bunch of my customers don't, despite me nagging them for the last 20 years about it. Proactive call after delivery, sooner than later, making sure that they had a good experience with your drivers, making sure that everything's okay. Nick, am I completely wet? What do you say?
Yeah, the human interaction element, right? Which you do tend to lose sometimes with the larger corporation. It means a lot. And that follow-up call for delivery. I've worked with some local businesses before that do prep calls as well in the morning, like the owner of a small store maybe sending their trucks out at 6 or 7 in the morning, and he would make personal calls, just leave a message on the voicemail and say, hey, we're still coming between these hours, just wanted to let you know, here's what to expect, and kind of setting the stage. And then a follow-up afterward. Did we do everything that I said we were going to do? Is there anything that we missed? And kind of leaving it open-ended. But those are the empathetic approaches to business that will set you apart. Right. And it can seem small, but the effort really means a lot. And the effort goes a long way. It's not going to get you every sale in town. It's not going to get every customer to come in, but it will get you word of mouth referrals. It will get you a customer for life, which is really important. Right. So that's what I would say to that is I agree. And I think that the importance cannot be overstated of just that personal touch.
Nicholas Dover from Alabama. I'm blessed to work in furniture manufacturing, then moved to wholesale, then retail, now only mattress retail. understanding all the different sides of this business is a bonus. Yes,
Yeah.
I agree. That's what I love about Nick's experience. Ray Crane, Ray, I just need to say this to you. I miss you and Kathy so much. You are absolutely one of my best customers ever. And I just love you guys. And
Yeah.
I really miss you guys. And I'm so glad you're watching the show, Ray. I hope you and Kathy are blessed. Pete and Nick, great to see you share your knowledge. Kathy and I always appreciated and enjoyed working with you. You were always willing to challenge us and help us grow. It was people like you that helped us get to where we are today. Yeah, retired and happy.
Oh man. Well, Pete, they would be on that list of individuals that I have learned a lot more from them than they did for me. But it's nice of him to say.
Yes.
Yeah. They're
Ray and Kathy are both two of the nicest people, great retailers,
yes.
super knowledgeable. And yes, Ray, I always learn something from you. Every time I used to love our talks. I mean, I could never get out of there in a short period of time. Not that I wanted to, but I couldn't, because me and Ray would start batting the ball around and
Yeah.
just talking about different things. And, an hour goes by, a couple hours go by. It was
Yeah.
great fun. So thank you, Ray. Thank you, Kathy. You guys are the absolute salt of the earth, and our industry misses you.
Yeah. They did it the right way.
Yeah, they truly did. So we've talked about some of the consolidation. We've talked about some of the things that are changing. Is there anything else that I've neglected to bring up at this point, Nick, that I should have regarding things that have changed in the last year, 2, 3 years?
Well, not anything that you necessarily didn't mention, but I think that we can kind of hone in on the broader scope a little bit. It's over the past decade, we have seen drastic changes from a very quick embrace of e-commerce that seemed to have happened overnight, and now there's a significant size of the pie being done in that channel, right? And many of us, I do think, are still playing catch up or trying to learn it. What's the best way to invest and get an ROI in that investment? But now we're going down, a second seismic shift in the industry, and that is this consolidation topic. So I like to have these discussions that are very open-ended and learn what others are thinking, learn what others are doing. But how do you plan for that, and how do we ensure that a family business that's on their 4th generation, like we are at White Dove with Bruce, makes it to the 8th generation when we're all good and gone, right? Because the way that we have gotten here is not necessarily the way that we're going to get there, if that makes sense. So again, it's a broad discussion, but just being deliberate, setting goals, having a plan to execute those, and just embracing the journey, embracing change. A big message that we always have as a team, anywhere that I have been fortunate enough to be in a leadership role, has actually been this McConaughey book over here, Green Lights. It's just the world is full of red and yellow lights, Pete. There's obstacles, there's challenges, and there are times where it feels like it's kind of a dead end. But the reality is there's always a yes out there. There's always a green light out there. We just sometimes have to be creative and figure out what that is. So yeah, I kind of like and embrace this tumultuous environment that we're in, because it's cyclical. The good times will come back. The dam will break. And I believe that the retailers and manufacturers that have positioned themselves with a solid foundation for when that dam breaks are going to be the ones that reap the benefits the most.
Yep. There's no doubt. So what was your favorite part about Greenlight?
It's just the overall message, right? It's embracing the journey, not so much always looking forward to the goal, not thinking short term, but thinking long term. It's just the overall message is really to pivot and persist and proceed. Everything can be and will be a yes. Everything can be a green light. It's just finding them, and it takes effort to find them. There are really great times where it just seems to all fall in your lap, But usually the reason why that happened is because you put yourself in a position for that to happen when times were kind of tough.
Yeah. Yep. So,
Oh, look at that.
so this is awesome with your, you know, you guys started in 1922. Of course, we weren't even thoughts in our parents. I believe it was Eugene, Henry's father, that started this business. Is that correct, Nick?
Bruce would be number 4. So if that makes sense, then that would be correct. I'm not.
Is Bruce number 3 and his daughter's number 4?
No, Bruce is number 4.
He's number 4.
Mhm.
So was there someone before Eugene? I didn't know that. I thought Eugene started the business, but maybe I'm wrong. But I got to tell you, when we're talking about, offering customers a product that's not going to come back,
Mhm.
There's a lot of brands out there that have products that are boomerangs. And when I'm talking to my retailers, I'm always coaching them. Listen, boomerang products kill your business. And here's the reason why. The worst customer complaint that you'll ever get is the one you never get. And why it's so dangerous is because you, as a small retailer, if you know a problem, you can solve it. But you have to know, and your customer has to tell you. And a lot of customers, they never tell you. They just go somewhere else. And so that's why the quality of the product matters, because your business is dependent on 3 things right now. 4 things. Yeah, more than that. But here, online reviews, hopefully 5-star, testimonials, your website's important, and referrals. You're not going to get a referral if they have a problem. You're not going to get a testimonial, and you're not going to get a favorable online review if the product isn't really, really good. So can you talk a little bit about what White Dove does to ensure quality products, Nick?
Yeah, that's one of the things that excited me about the company, especially being family owned, right, Pete? It's a little bit different than reporting to a board, where you have to really get down to the micro level. So Bruce and I'm assuming the generations before, but they're very focused on only buying a certain density of foam just to start, right? So everything that we do operates in a high density world. The next thing is the coil systems. We don't buy from some of the majors, that we may have mentioned earlier, but we do bring them in-house downstairs, from a smaller manufacturer, and we test those. So I was just speaking with Gary Eddy, who's our VP of operations, to kind of talk about some of the durability tests that we do. But we essentially put all of the foams through a rollator test, right? A couple 100,000 rotations, and see what that impression tolerance would be. So for me, because that was already in place, and we do continue to invest in our operations downstairs, newer equipment, we're actually moving into a foam cutting process pretty soon as well. That was already in place. So my opportunity is not just to help grow our sales, but it was, well, how do you improve the product, Pete, if it's already really good and really durable? And that is where an investment in aesthetics and attention to detail is an opportunity for me to kind of take this to the next level. So in terms of the quality, it's been there. And now we're going to tell a great story, right? Build a great product. That was already happening here, as you know, from years ago. But now we're going to tell a great story on top of it. The aesthetics are going to have an investment into them. It's going to pop on the floor, because it's all well and great to say that we need to diversify the merchandising, but if it's not competitive for the retailer, if it doesn't catch the eye of the consumer, it's really hard to stop them in their tracks. And I know from as a sales associate, if it doesn't look the part, it's really hard to tell them, no, I promise you it really is. If we just open the hood and look underneath. So yeah, that's kind of a long way to answer that question, but the investment in quality has always been there, and now we're making a cognizant investment into the aesthetics. And so far, the only way I gauge success is not always necessarily through sell-through, it's through retailer feedback, because ultimately they're going to decide if it's going to sell or not if it's on their floor.
Yeah.
And it's been very positive, and I'm grateful for that. But we have a ways to go.
I want to unpack this a little bit because you said it really fast, and you said it like
I do that. Yeah.
You said it like it's not necessarily that important. And I think it has to do with you just being a humble guy. Not every mattress manufacturer tests their raw components. Most don't.
I know.
I've been very blessed to work for companies that do. The Serta franchise that I worked for, that the Ullman and Kaplan family owned, did. White Dove, where I went immediately after, does today. Sutherland did. It's super, super important. It's a pain in the rear. It takes time. Right. It takes effort. It takes diligence. And you are going to be sending some foam and springs back to your suppliers. It happens.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to tell you this. I don't know what the percentages are, but they're relatively low in our industry. And I know what you are thinking, Mr. and Mrs. Retailer. You're thinking, no, everybody does it. No, they don't. No. And some of them that say they do really don't in a meaningful way. And so this idea of testing your components before they're made into a mattress is an incredibly important and huge idea. And I just want to put a fine point on that it leads to less returns. It leads to consistency in production, and it leads to your customer giving you a 5-star online review, a referral, and giving you a testimonial that you need for your business to continue. Whether you believe you need that or not, you need that for your business to thrive in today's new world.
Yeah.
Sorry, I went off on a tangent. That
no,
happens on
it's
my
good.
show.
Yeah, no, it's good. Look, I'm really proud of being a part of something like that. And you're right. It's just the over kind of bragging. It's a little out of my comfort zone.
I bragged on you, so you didn't have to.
I appreciate it. So, I appreciate it.
So Nick, this kind of stinks because we only got 7 minutes left, brother. And I could talk to you for hours on end because we're just scratching the surface here. Was there a question, Nick, that I should have asked you that I didn't?
Well, I could do this for another 3 hours too. I'm a lot more comfortable than I anticipated being. So I thank you for that. Is there a question that you didn't ask
that I should have?
That you should have? I would say,
or let me give you a different way. I'll serve it up a little bit differently. Okay. Is there something that we should have told Mr. and Mrs. store owner out there? Is there something we should have told them that they need to know to have a successful 2026?
Yeah. Collaborate, right? I think that it's very easy for all of us. As manufacturers, we look at other manufacturers as competition. As retailers, we look at other retailers as competition. But at the end of the day, the industry size is in the US, it could be disputed depending on the source, but let's just say the wholesale size of the pie is 9.5 billion, Pete, last year down a bit. There's a lot of consumers out there, and there always will be, who need a new mattress. They need better sleep. They work 2 or 3 jobs. It's a side gig economy that we're currently in. Sleep is extremely important. It's a gratifying purchase once it's made. It's just not always the most top of mind product that people go into a store looking at, because it's not aesthetics. You can't show it to your neighbor. You can't show it to your friends. So what I would say is collaborate with other like-minded businesses. We're not all against each other. We're kind of in this thing together. So, if it's not somebody that's across the street from you where you're bouncing customers back and forth, find out what folks are doing in Las Vegas. Find out what folks are doing in Albany, New York, and what works for them. What are some promotions? I love reading testimonials that go out in like Furniture Today or Bedtimes and some on what smaller businesses are doing to just drive traffic and interest, and how they tell their story. How do they show a great product, and how do they tell a great story? But gosh, like you had mentioned, the networking group on Facebook, buy groups, performance groups, ISPA get-togethers. Like, put yourself out there and collaborate a little bit and learn about others, and use empathy as a real vehicle to get you where you need to go. Empathy is top of mind with me all day, every day. Put myself in someone else's shoes. What are they thinking? And we are doing that at White Dove. I do that in my own personal life. But if we can deliver the product that you say that you need, that's best for your customers, then we have operated an empathetic approach. And then you as a retailer, do you understand your market currently, not how it was years ago, right? And do you understand what some others are doing in similar markets that have been successful? And so I think collaboration is a little underrated.
That's huge. This is an incredibly huge subject that you just brought up, and it could be an entire show by itself. You said something again. You're such a humble guy. I love how you say things that are huge. This is a side gig economy.
Yeah,
that is so true. And you really thinking about that when you are retailing anything, but you're in the business of retail and outcomes, helping people sleep better and having better health, having better longevity, having better energy, being a better mother, father, sister, brother, whatever it is you do in this life, you'll do it better if you're well rested. And there's this idea of the side gig economy. There's a lot of stress. There's a lot of people working plus jobs. So not just one job. Like my mom and dad, they had one job.
Mm-hmm.
Today people have multiple jobs, and there's more stress. And whatever you can do in your presentation with your customers, your experience that you offer your customers is incredibly huge. How can you make it easier for them to shop and understand the benefits of the mattresses and the sleep systems, the adjustable beds, everything that goes with it? How can you make that experience a breath of fresh air instead of something they try to avoid? Because traditionally in our industry, people would rather do anything other than buy a mattress. We've got testing that goes way back, and it always comes out the same. People would rather shop for almost anything other than a mattress. And we need to do better. And we are doing better. There's some really great stores out there who do great things. Wayside Furniture, one of your very good customers and one of my best customers, they offer a phenomenal experience.
They do.
I mean, they love their people that work for them. They love their vendors, and they love their customers, and it shows in everything they do. Gardner's Mattress and More in Lancaster, PA, Happy Z's in Paducah, Kentucky, Healthy Z's in Harrison, Ohio. These are guys and gals that do incredible things, give a great experience. This idea of collaboration, you don't have to wait to join a buying group. Pete, I'm not going to do that. Nick had a really good idea. I'm not going to do that because I don't have the $250 a month to join a buying group. Wrong answer. Collaborate with somebody. Ask your reps. Hey, Are you leveraging your reps? I mean, Kathy and Ray, they made me their friend.
Yeah.
And I gave them everything I had. The ideas that came out of that collaboration through the roof. And
Yeah.
not just on merchandise, on everything. Hey, Randy Thompson, just jumped on here 10 minutes ago. This year is shaping up to be better than our best years. Learning the best process is important. Pay attention to Jeff G and Scott Vaughn. Yeah, 100%, Randy. And guys, I know we're over. I'm going to go really quick on this. Say a little prayer for Randy. And I want you guys to understand something. We almost lost Randy. He went and had a physical. Something was wrong with his eyesight, ended up having a heart cath. His widowmaker was 95% blocked. So this is how I'm going to close out the show. Treat today as not every other day. Treat today as if it's your last day, because it could be. And my dear friend Randy, it almost was his last day just a few weeks ago. So this is a blessing, guys. I am sorry I went over Chris Stone, but you are the best for putting up with me. Nick, we got to do this again, brother.
Sure, anytime. Thank you for having me. Hopefully there was some value to it, and I appreciate you very much.
Well, I think there's a ton of value here. This idea of collaboration with businesses in your community, with businesses that are in your industry that are in another town who aren't competitors. Collaborate. And let me tell you something. Other store owners in your town in different industries, you guys can do cross promotions that are worth their weight in gold. They always come in at a lower cost. But thank you, Nick, so much. And thank you, everybody that was here. Ray and Kathy, great to say hi to you again.
Yeah.
Gordon, thank you for introducing me and Nick. Nicholas Dover, Chris Haney, thank you guys for making this show special. And go forward, everybody, this week and sell 1 million. Thanks.